Oh man, so alright, this thing got some legs, alright. So y'all know we covered the situation where Marc Lamont and Flip was going back and forth on the JBP, and one thing that stood out from that conversation is that Flip said a shit about tricky words to Marc Lamont, and that fed into my angle because it made me think about a lot of conversations that I seen about Marc Lamont being on that podcast with him being categorized as an intellectual, a black intellectual, going into this hip hop podcast where people are much more casual in the way that they speak, you know? Now, me, myself, personally, if y'all watched that video, I went in on the notion that it will be stupid for Marc Lamont to be on that podcast. I said that's stupid to have that mind state. If you do believe that Marc Lamont has a great perspective to share with the black community, then you want him to go into this popular platform to be able to spread and speak to many black people. That makes the most sense, right? But many people that say that they think very well wasn't thinking that thoroughly about that point right there, and they only focused on, I don't know what they focused on, elitism maybe elitism, because that's what it sounds like is what's going on. All right, so Angela Rye, let's talk about Angela Rye. All right, so I rock with Charlamagne the God. Joe Budden obviously doesn't, but I heard his part. I haven't heard Angela Rye part yet, but he calls her a Charlamite in his dream. You may or may have not known that Charlamagne and Angela Rye is cool. She comes on the Breakfast Club pretty often to give a political point of view on certain topics. So it's kind of interesting because she is Charlamagne's Marc Lamont, if you would say, and Marc Lamont does that on the JBP. Woody woody woo. All right, but there's something there. There's layers to this response or this animosity and these takes. Okay, we gonna get to what Joe Budden says because he goes crazy. He goes in. You can get to that, but I want to see what he's responding to. It's a long segment. Y'all gonna just see my highlights of my reaction, but I'm gonna watch this to see what Joe's responding to. But we will not watch the whole thing.
There seems to be the death of Black intellectualism, particularly when it comes to who has a microphone. And viral clips like this take up so much space. To me, it was clear that his co-host felt small. And, you know, even him saying you use tricky words and Marc responding with, I use words that are tricky to you. And anytime somebody, I think, cannot take to be questioned or responds with a full temper tantrum, it is always about that other person, not about, like, it wasn't Marc. He didn't do anything. And if someone is so small that you can't articulate your point without throwing a temper tantrum or insulting another person, I'm happy that Marc showed both sides. That yes, I'm an intellectual, but don't get up in the studio, you know? And I think it's important for people to see that yes, you can still be an intellectual and demand your respect. That doesn't make you soft. I'm concerned.
All right, so y'all heard what she said right there. It's important to see that. Now, I want to know how this conversation proceeds, because how else would you see that if you're not on a platform that has a lot of visibility, you know?
I know in our community, because when you look at just the plain data, you can take my perspectives out of it. There seems to be an erosion. I don't consider myself a member of the Black intellectual class, but I do thrive in that space. I love to be around. Sometimes, Andrew, when you're talking, I forget I'm a host on the podcast. Like, I'm just listening to you because you're saying something so brilliant to me or something that I didn't know. I had no perspective, and I enjoy hearing that. I have curiosity. I'm not trying to be fake humble. Like, I don't consider myself an intellectual. I consider myself intellectually curious. I have questions.
I agree. I don't consider myself an intellectual at all, but I am intellectually curious, and I may be intellectually lazy as well, because I know I have a bandwidth for much more information, but sometimes I just coast and, you know, receive shit as I receive shit. So I may be intellectually lazy as well. Especially with the way that I speak. I know y'all be like, I'm two different people sometimes.
So I just think, in this environment of these viral clips, I'm curious y'all take on all of this, because I don't want to make it just about Marc. Yeah. But Marc is there because people turn their back on him. Marc should not be on this podcast. He gets the opportunity to talk to people, but Marc should still be at CNN, if you ask my opinion. Marc should have had a contract. As soon as CNN said, we're letting you go, somebody should have snatched Marc up and said that. And I just think they put dumb people on TV sometimes just because you have more likes and followers. And they don't celebrate our intellectualism. So all
right. So as she handing it off, so she contradicted herself. Marc should not be on this podcast. He should be on CNN. Who's watching CNN? Who's watching CNN? More than likely, the people that's watching CNN are people that are niche viewers. People that may already subscribe to a certain way of thinking in the first damn place. So are people tuning in for that content for more information to learn and grow? Or are they tuning in for confirmation bias? But when you go to a platform, say for instance like Joe Budden podcast, which has a much more wider reach for their audience, and you bring an intellectual that is able to, play both sides, or deliver messages, because y'all are doing something that's very disingenuous, because you guys probably watch this shit in vacuum, just the viral clips, but you don't see the reception that Marc has from the Joe Budden podcast followers, the people that actually watch it on a day-to-day. They love the addition of Marc. They appreciate the addition of Marc. Many people that have had certain perspectives like him, now they feel identified with the way that he speaks on certain things, because now he can represent them. And that's necessary in a black space. He's necessary. He's probably more necessary there than on CNN, because you have much more people that wouldn't casually or naturally gravitate to CNN for information. So this is not the way to attack these things. And that's when you get called elitist. That's when you get called elitist, when you say, oh, you shouldn't be on that platform. It's the biggest platform. You should, just the same way people may say Angela Rye as an intellectual should not be on the platform where once upon a time Charlamagne and God was smelling people's seats. I have no issue with that shit. But people can say that. People can cherry pick moments that the Breakfast Club has. When shit go left all the time, just ratchet buffoonery all the damn time, chaos on there, and say, why the fuck would an intellectual like Angela Rye go on that platform? But the idea behind that shit is to put medicine in the candy to meet and reach people where they are. So how can you feel like or think that you have your people's best interest in heart, but when your boy go into the lines then with the people that may not agree with him, may not speak like him, and go all out, you should just be supporting him and supporting his decision, because he made his decision to go on that platform too. Support that man. Don't shit on his decision to be on there. Especially when this shit is reaching more people. And once again, you do have the people that probably believe or are on flip side. I did have them in my comment section initially when it came to the shit. I had them in there. But at the same damn time, you still have his message going out there, because there was just as many, or maybe even more people that were on Marc's side and understood that he should have to dumb himself down for Flip or whomever on a podcast. He should be able to be himself. That is there. So I don't like this elitism shit. This is why you get called an elitist. And this is also why when it comes to political messages, why your message will not get to certain people, because you are not meeting them where they're at. You don't even know how to communicate with them, or try to find a way to communicate with them, because you're not going to walk in the door to where they're at. You're going to just sit with your echo chamber, your small niche group of people, and just complain about the world, when you're not actually going out into the world to fix the problem. And part of the problem comes to mentality and the way you approach certain issues. And if you're not even planting seeds, you're not even stepping out into the garden, then you might need to shut the fuck up. Take the step first. Marc is taking the step. Support him in that shit. Because you can look at the numbers, your numbers are going to pale in comparison to Joe Budden's reach. And Marc is on there very, very often. At some point in time, sometimes when the political season come around, that's when Angela Rye, or voting season, I should say, that's when Angela Rye goes on a podcast more often, or Breakfast Club more often, to talk about certain things. But she's not there for the day-to-day, to get to know the people, or for the fans to really get to know her, to really get to know her personality, to trust her. Marc is building cultural cachet with the folks. They're building trust. He's getting to know the people. He's in the Twitter spaces with the viewers, the fans, and talking with them, understanding them. And as you understand them, you understand how to speak to them. You understand what their bandwidth is for information, how you can deliver shit to them. This shit is why you will be called an elitist. This is why. Because no one want to hear your shit. No one want to feel the way that you make them feel when you come speak to them and look down on them. They don't want to feel that shit. They stay the fuck away from me. Bye. Go back to your corner, go back into your room, your echo chamber, and talk your shit amongst some people. And I ain't even get to, my bad, I ain't even get to hear what Angela Rye had to say. My bad for that tangent. My bad, folks. But this is my platform. You want to hear what they got to say? Go over there. But this is my platform, though, so I can't talk as much as I want to talk. I can. There's a reason why I'm the go-to handyman in my house, just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. I'm not one of those guys who calls AAA the second a tire loses. If I'm on the side of the road, I'm not waiting around and filming a pray for me Instagram story. I'm popping the trunk and handling it. I fix what I can. I put things together myself. I'm stubborn like that. But even I know my limits. Because I'll change a tire, but I will not walk into a courtroom talking about your honor. I watched 3 YouTube videos, man. I think I got this. Nah. Morgan & Morgan has over 1,000 attorneys in more than 100 offices and $25 billion recovered for more than 500,000 people. Somebody got offered $350,000. Morgan & Morgan turned that into $12 million. Submitting a claim takes less time than arguing with someone about it. You can click the link in my description, type your info, done. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. Change your own tire if you want to, but when it comes to that money, let the pros handle it. All right, let's keep listening.
That's right. Well, one, I hope we never get to a place of self-censoring. I think it's important for us to bring our full beliefs, our full selves to this podcast, because that's what our listeners, the people who ride with us, expect, is that we'll be as direct as we can. And I will be very honest. I've never listened to the Budden by the Joe Budden podcast before. This was the first clip I've ever seen of it is with Marc on it. And that probably distances me even greater from a lot of folks out there who probably, it's a number 5 or top 5 or top 10 for a reason. That means people are going there to subscribe. The reason why I think I value a voice like Marc's, being able to cut through in a top 10, top 5 audience, is that at least somebody gets an exposure to his perspective that may not have otherwise had it.
Thank you, Andrew Gillum, for understanding that point. Thank you. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And that's why I was tricked into voting for your ass before you did that little wild shit. Boy, nigga. But y'all see he makes sense. But boy, when I read that headline, boy, my heart dropped. And I ain't gonna tell you where it dropped to, because your ass might get excited. Why'd I even say your ass? That just ruined the whole point of what I just... All right.
But exactly what they're getting exposed to also matters. I don't know if that's the rhythm of it from day to day or whatever is broadcast, week to week, whenever it shows. But I've got to believe that, knowing Marc well enough, that on a regular basis, he's probably being able to enter into that conversation, that discussion, a higher level of discourse than what we saw exhibited there. Maybe he's entering into that conversation some terms, some theory of changes, some beliefs that then people go and Google afterwards. They didn't know before, and now their curiosity has been piqued, and they're going to check it out. And to that extent, I think that is a good thing. I think it is probably not a good thing in society when sort of our thoughtful folks are only talking to other thoughtful folks. I think that's probably...
My rant probably wasn't even needed. My rant probably wasn't even needed. Thank you. It's that simple. It's that simple. And that's when you have book smart people and their book smart doesn't translate into the real world. That's why, because they're not good people. They don't understand these simple things. Life starts when the bell rings. God damn it. Leave class and put those real thoughts or those perspectives, take them to the real world. Spread those perspectives. Give the game. God damn.
Probably not the setup that we want. However, I know for sure I don't want to watch that fight every day. I don't want to watch that kind of discourse every day. I don't know that I want to see it any day, to be frank with you. Tiffany, what you brought up around some of the literacy rates, what the damage that...
All right, so I did appreciate that he trusted Marc's decision to go on the podcast and knew that if he's on there, and with me knowing him, I'm speaking as him, it's a great chance that he's comfortable in the space that he's in. Because if you shit on his decision to be on a podcast, that's low-key shitting on him. It's not just shit on the podcast, it's shitting on him. You feel me? So I appreciate that perspective. All right, let me I ain't gonna lie, they talking about other things, ancillary things. Let me get to Angela Rye's perspective, because I want to hear what she has to say about this.
I heard Tiff at the outset say that she thought that Marc handled himself well in the exchange. And I can't tell you all how much I cringe looking at that exchange. I have been in conversation, in relationship with people that take you completely off of your square and who you are, who you have evolved out of. And I think for me, what's frustrating, and this is something that I would tell our friend as well, is I never want anybody to take any of us off of our square, but particularly not him. He just has so much to the world. Now, so much to add to the world. Now, I'll say I'm the first to call myself sophistiratchet all day long. All day long. I believe in, both sides. Like depending on the mood, you might, if I'm feeling froggy, I might leap. But what I don't like is I know firsthand that the founder of Uncle Bobby's, that's striving to ensure that Black folks can read in a neighborhood that he loves in Philly, the same person that's creating Black jobs and providing opportunity for our folks, doesn't want to show up that way for himself, for his family, for his kids, for anybody. And so what I really want to ask us to consider is, how do we resolve conflict when things are heated without name calling? Without attacking someone's intellect or lack thereof. I think that we can lovingly challenge people to rise up without calling them dumb or anti-intellectual. Sure, that is where we are, but is there another way to call people in? I don't think that Marc should be left holding the bag in this exchange. I take great issue with that podcast and its treatment of Marc, and I was wondering when he was gonna snap. There's another clip that I don't know if you all saw where Marc announces very vulnerably that he's lost almost all of his colleagues that were reporting in Gaza. And by lost, I mean they are killed. They died in their reporting and trying to be courageous for their people.
And then around the world, we're seeing violence everywhere, including Gaza, where I work for Al Jazeera. My colleagues, every colleague I have in Gaza has been murdered. Every single colleague I have in Gaza has been murdered. So we got a lot of work to do and a lot of stuff to pay attention to.
That's pretty good.
All right, Young Thug dissed, I get scared every time he do that shit.
He doing so fast, so you gotta hit.
Everybody know in Gaza is like,
oh my colleague.
God damn, he doing it again.
That nigga Marc, boy. Why you don't never support him when he start talking that shit? You support him very well, Pizza Hut.
He has my full support, but I also know that once he says something like that, or we discuss something like that, then we're just like, okay, what's the pivot? What's the pivot after we talk about every journalist on the Gaza Strip being murdered? Like, what's the pivot?
So Young Thug
there we go.
appeared on Little Baby's project.
Quite the project.
And sharing vulnerably, he's lost all his people. And Joe Budden's transition, not this other guy, I don't know everybody's name, but not this other guy. Joe Budden's transition is like, and Young Thug. Like, just no mention of like, are you okay? Yeah. How do you feel? Who was lost this week? How did they die? Just like nothing. So 2 tips point around curiosity.
I would just say this right here. Joe's an asshole. That was asshole-ish of Joe. Marc should know that Joe is an asshole. You choose to deal with certain things if you go to certain platforms, certain arenas. You gotta pick and choose your poison. Joe is an asshole. It's plenty of times I don't agree with Joe when he does shit. But that doesn't take me off my pivot from everything I've said before.
If you can't find curiosity, find sympathy. If you can't find sympathy, find empathy. If you can't find empathy, find compassion. Because if you don't, the person who is in a constant state of grief, at some point that grief turns to rage because there's not a safe container for it. So we say on this show, welcome home, and we mean that. Of course, Marc is welcome anytime. I don't know about the rest of them. But I will just say, I don't think that means that we should be foreclosed to having discussions that are tough or where we don't think people are our peers or we're on the same level. I'm not into that. But where I see folks who are constantly unwilling to have conversations that stretch or to have conversations where they at least can appreciate a different perspective, I don't know that I'm into that. So I just want Marc to know I'm praying for you, brother. You know that. And I want better for him. I think that he deserves to hold space with people who are at least more compassionate and more eager to learn from his perspective. And clearly, you can take a Negro out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the Negro. So you might not want to keep leaping at Marc. He might just snap and bust your ass next time. I don't know. I don't want him to do that. But, I mean, it was getting Real Housewives to me.
All right, so that right there ain't as bad as I've been hearing people talk about. That isn't as bad as what I've been hearing. But I will say, though, that Marc has the opportunity to get his shit off. He cooks all the time. That clip is not how it goes all the time. That is a boiling point. That's not a representative of how I always see conversations go with him on that platform. And also when it comes to the notion of educating, there are certain things that they let Marc educate about, but then there's also things that are discussion and debate. So it's perspective versus perspective. So it's not just about education. It's just two perspectives colliding to find middle ground, or the audience is the ones that finds middle ground from hearing the discussion from two perspectives. So not everything is just education. The heated exchanges, they pop off from the perspectives clashing, not from Marc Lamont Hill bringing information about a topic on sensitive political shit. It's not just that.
This man on this show, though, hadn't, I don't feel, come to terms with the fact that he is on the other side of disrespect too often with Marc. And so what Marc was focused on, someone who is smart, and we know in our community, sometimes when you're smart, you are bullied. Like all of your life, you are bullied. If you're the one that's seen reading books and you don't play at recess sometimes because you want to do your homework or whatever, I'm not saying that's Marc's story, but sometimes it is. And you still nigga, you get mad every now and then, are like, let me tell you what, you shouldn't get confused. And I think that's the part, what he was focusing on, Andrew, since you were talking about the why, I heard Marc almost zone in on the sucker shit remark.
She's reiterating points that I made as far as why he was doing what he was doing. Okay.
And he was like, you ain't gonna call me sucker too many more times. And it's because he's constantly having that experience on the podcast, which is why that's my concern for his mental health. Now, Marc is mature and older and had an angry outburst, but also checked himself. Was like, wait a minute, let's all calm down, to try to reel it back in. But there are a lot of kids who don't have the tools to emotionally do that at school. And they're the ones who end up taking the gun to school. They're ones who...
I agree with you 100% on this all really being about a conversation of inadequacy. And the truth is that it was inadequacy on both sides.
Thank you. Can I chime in on that? Because
yes, go right ahead.
Because I was going to say, one of the things we have not brought to the forefront is the fact that y'all do realize Marc called this nigga dumb.
Thank you. That's another thing. That's another thing. People was like, it was funny because in my comment section, because I was so thorough with both perspectives. And this one, I know I do a great job of delivering both perspectives, because I have comments that say, "Oh, Stacey, you on one side. Oh, no, Stacey on this side." That's when I know I advocated for both sides in a great way. But neither mind that. This is the point I was making. Marc called that nigga dumb. Marc was agitated for whatever reason. There were things that led to that point, all right? And he called a nigga dumb without saying straight up, you're dumb. He did it. He wanted to poke at him. He was doing it on purpose. He wanted to take it there for whatever reason. Thank you. I'm not sure of homie's name, but thank you for saying that, bro.
He did.
I did not hear that.
How did you?
When he said, "I'm using words that are tricky to you," it's dumb.
Yeah,
but the person on the receiving end understood.
He responded. Dude, say you're using them tricky words, and he said, "I'm not using." No, not come on.
That is a way to call him dumb.
No, I disagree, and this is why I don't have conversations with people like that, because to me that was disrespectful. People like him, because Marc made him feel small.
I don't think there was confusion
because his ego is so fragile.
Yeah, so okay, so she's the one. She's the one that got the energy. Cause I haven't heard anything too out of bounds from Angela Rye yet. It's this girl. It's this girl, okay. Because how can you understand that Mark purposely called him dumb to take things to the next level? He did that on purpose. Like, how can't you understand that? Everyone here reads that but you. And then saying that you wouldn't talk to people like that. We see. That's why I went on. She's the one that caused me to go on that rant earlier, bro. God damn.
Because when we disagree, Mark made him feel small, and when he said you use those tricky words, and Mark said I don't use tricky words, I'm using words that are tricky to you. I actually agree with that. I don't have to, like, again, if my ministry, like I applaud anybody who goes into spaces and says yes, you are the person I'm seeking out. The flips of the world are the people I want to engage. I applaud it. I don't look down on that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying I know because I'm gonna respond how Mark did. Don't try to belittle me because I'm using the word you don't understand. Don't try to give a put down to me because I'm talking about something that might be a bit over your head. So I did not hear Mark call him dumb. I heard Mark saying, no, don't try to say something to me because I'm using a word you don't understand. Use your curiosity and say, Mark, can you better explain your point?
She's being dishonest. She's being dishonest like a motherfucker. Intellectually dishonest. That's what you're doing right now. If you can't understand it, everyone else get this but you. Everyone gets that was a dig but you. Good luck to whoever dating this lady, man. Hey, my brother, good luck to you. Good luck, all right? I get a good idea of what you may be going through. I'm praying for you.
I talk about things all the time. Angela and I had breakfast in New York with our boy Alfonso. They're both attorneys. And so they were saying things that I didn't follow. I didn't understand. And Angela was saying stuff like, well, I'd have to pro hawk in and because discovery. I didn't get that. I wasn't sitting there like, I mean, y'all all using them tricky words like I'm here too. I'm like, what does that mean exactly? Was I not?
But Tiff, you're wired different. You're wired different. And I think
the setting is different. The setting is different. Basically, sometimes they just talking about different topics and discussing things, but then sometimes it's a debate. So that's not the same thing as far as you listening in and being a third party to a conversation between two lawyers. It's not the same thing as two men engaging in a debate and one person knowing that he could win the debate by using tricky words, quote unquote, by being more intellectual, you feel me? Saying things that'll trip the person up because they may not have the extensive vocabulary to be able to understand things, to respond in a good way. You feel me? That's what's going on. It's not it's Mark is doing certain things, and I think he's taught himself how to behave on certain platforms when you are trying to, win the conversation. When he's on CNN in political spaces, or the dude from overseas. I don't know why every single time I do a video I forget his name. Y'all know the dude Piers Morgan. When he's on Piers Morgan, he's saying certain things to win the conversation. He goes on JBP, and it is a lot of times the conversations, they get contentious about certain topics because once again perspectives are clashing. So yeah, he's going to come in there, and to win the conversation he's going to use his tools. He's going to dig into his bag. Flip goes on the other hand saying you use all these tricky words, woody woody whoop, and Mark responds how he responds. It's the same way, let's say for instance, Golden State Warriors. Y'all know I love my sports references. Golden State Warriors, y'all know they get off with the threes. That's their thing, threes. It's the same thing as if Tristan Thompson or LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, said, yo, y'all always doing these moving screens and shit, and that's why you're able to get these open look for the threes. That's why you're able to win the game. He's describing Mark's tactics to win in their battles when they talking about different points. You feel me? JBP listeners, let me know if I'm wrong. I may be wrong. Y'all told me I was wrong. Some people said I was saying things out of context, but I can read conversations. I can read energy. Tell me if I'm wrong though. Tell me if I'm wrong. Let me know. We still ain't get a Joe Park. Y'all, this is like a damn mini podcast of my own that I'm doing right here, but we big vibe, man, and y'all got time. Okay, so now let me get to Joe Budden's response, because I didn't see the full response, but from what I see as far as headlines and things, is that his energy was directed towards Angela Rye, and I believe the energy should be directed towards the lady. Most people on the platform were just talking about the dynamics of the situation and giving support for Mark because that's their homie. Angela Rye wasn't the biggest detractor for the podcast, it was that girl. Based on what I'm saying, y'all, do y'all hear something different from me? It was the girl who was the biggest detractor.
Angela Rye, I totally accept your non-invite to your platform and would like to add on to it.
Wait, she disinvited you from her?
No. She said everybody up here wouldn't be welcome.
Who wants to go up there?
Oh, man, I can't go somewhere that I didn't want to go.
What was that clip? I didn't see that clip, but if she said that, then damn, where's that clip?
Well, see,
I didn't even know they existed.
Why don't we tell the audience what happened?
Okay, go ahead.
Tell him.
Yeah.
I thought y'all was gonna do it, but
I never heard Marc Lamont held speechless.
So
Get your hand out your pocket, nigga.
He just made noises.
in the aftermath of my contretemps with Flip last week,
Yahoo?
there was
He's doing it now. He's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing tricky words.
Tricky words. There was a lot of media that came out, but one of the big pods that I saw respond to it, and I just heard it this morning on the way in, was the Native Land Podcast, which is a podcast with Andrew Gillum, former mayor of Tallahassee, Angela Rye, formerly of CNN Media Mogul.
Mark, if you're gonna do it and give your friends a whole bunch of respect,
Tiffany
let me do
Cross,
it.
and I gave y'all a chance to do it.
All right, yo, check this out. Check this out.
We usually
No, because he's being too respectful for me.
we gonna turn up. He's supposed to. We gonna turn up.
Yeah, but I don't want to. They
Let him
podcasts are so
talk.
big
But
and
no.
say they last.
Anyway,
I think he should say
let
that.
me finish the thought. I'll just say this. They put a podcast out responding to what happened between Flip and me, and they offer different perspectives on it. I thought they were generally respectful, and I agree with a lot of what was said. Some of it I had a slightly different take on. But they were basically using this as a kind of launching pad to talk about a bigger issue, which they saw was a dumbing down of America. I think the episode was called Joe Budden, the Joe Budden podcast, and the dumbing down of America.
Shit.
And they were saying that the exchange between me and Flip is evidence of that. Now, as I said earlier in the show, I don't agree with that part of it.
It's just not in his head, so I think he does.
Yeah.
Well, that's where problem number one arises for me, and then I'll toss it back to Mark. You title it that, and then admittedly say, I don't look at that, because that's not my ministry. See, and that's why I appreciate what Andrew had to say, because he said, one, I'm not familiar with this podcast. I don't watch the clips from this podcast. I assume this is not their frequency every week.
He did.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. That's why you need niggas with brains around. Thank you. That indeed is not our frequency every week. He went on to say, I also trust Mark and his ability to gauge where he should and shouldn't be, who he should connect with and who he shouldn't, to kind of filter out where he's safe at. So I took offense to the sentiment. I took offense to a few sentiments, but one is that I don't love Mark down.
And they were infantilizing Mark at the same damn time. I
take offense to that. I don't know how much I want to go into loving Mark down. Fuck Mark.
No, it's
do your thing.
It's a bunch of things. I think that the young lady Tiffany. So it's 4 people on the panel. 2 gentlemen, two women. Angela Rye, young lady Tiffany, Bakari, and the old mayor Andrew Gillum.
Who's your age?
So
Former mayor, is I think one of them. If we were a little more,
he ran for governor.
Yes.
Okay. But he, who I think is dope too, by the way. So a lot of times in these political spaces, a lot of times in the spaces that are quote unquote intellectual, we often look at demographics and we look and pick and choose when we want to play victim and we want to play aggressor. So when the rich white people are doing certain things to us, we cry wolf. I mean, we don't cry wolf, we cry foul. And then we'll take the same exact thing and now shun other people that are less than we are or that we deem less than we are. So when we're in a political space and we see all these rich white people making all these moves and doing all these shit and saying, F the masses, I don't care what they think. And then the young lady got on the platform and basically called Flip dumb and said, I don't give a what he thinks. I don't want to hear from him because he's not, in my opinion, credible, or his opinion is not valid. It's the same thing that the white people that oppress us say their opinion is not valid. I don't want to give a fuck about the thoughts of sheep when I'm a lion.
Ish cooking. Ish read the situation exactly as I seen it. She's the one that had the most smoke. Angela Rye, you the most popular, and you are Charlamagne's homie. So Joe gonna direct that smoke towards you, my boy. My lady. I'm sorry, not my boy. My lady.
So I think that that's a hypocrisy in that. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Also, that's what happened with Flip and Mark is contextual. And if you don't watch the pod, which none of them admittedly do, you don't even understand the argument that was taking place.
And this is where my problem comes in the so-called intellectual community and thought process. Not watching or citing your sources is a huge red flag. You can't just spitball some shit and then claim you're an intellectual, or go off a 30-second clip and claim you're an intellectual. Like, if you don't watch the podcast and admit that you don't watch the podcast and admit that you only see it in clip, and I didn't watch their podcast, so I can't speak on that, but if that is indeed the case...
That'd be ironic.
I know, right? Which is why I won't have a ton to say in here, but I do have a problem with someone not watching the podcast and having a deep strong opinion about the podcast.
And you don't even know what the argument. You don't know what the argument is about, where the argument came from. You don't know anything.
Well, that's part of where my acceptance of her non-invitation becomes relevant, right? Like Angela Rye, I can assure you, like, I've got over 25 years in this business. I can assure you, if you and I are in the same place, it's a mistake on my part. Like, I'm all for people saying who's invited and uninvited places, so I ain't mad at it. But we would never be in the same space.
I disagree with that, and I took offense to that, because it was almost saying that, yo, if you aren't this, if you don't have these accolades, I don't even want to communicate with you, right? And again, to my same point, politically or economically, some people can now say, if you don't have X, Y, Z amount of dollars, I don't want to talk to you, and your opinion is nothing to me.
Are they the elites of the are they the black elites, or not even just black elites? Are they the black Democratic elites? Because that's their perspective. A lot of things that's buried into that, because they would still look down on conservative people that may look down on other black people. But you have to, and now in today's day, I'm not a political pundit at all, but I just see things for what it is based on the hats that people wear, and they present themselves as that. So that's why I said Democratic elites, because it's slightly different than the way that conservative media may speak on a situation like this. That's why I said that. All right.
Right. Well, and because of that, I wouldn't be so quick to cast aspersions on people that I don't know. Like, is what I'm saying. True. Like, I've never met these people. I've been in the business a long time. If we've never met, I'm not taking your content and then just assuming that I know about you or your character. It's in bad taste, which is why you'll never see a clip titled up here, Angela Rye, anything. No, I'm not watching the content. What you're talking about is not my vibe, and that's where the facts stop for me.
See, Flip is my friend, though. You understand what I'm saying? And so they were shooting at Flip a lot. It was unfair. And then we get into these spaces where, no, Flip may not have 3 degrees. I've been to Flip house. Flip got an elevator in his house. I've been around Flip. Flip generates more income than a lot of these so-called academics do. You understand what I'm saying? So when you
Flip
go in,
kid is well spoken.
So Flip's children are mannerly, they're polite as, and they good kids that you would think grew up in Livingston, New Jersey, somewhere, Short Hills.
So I don't have time for y'all looking at content and deciding which departments people are bright in and people are not. Who the are you people? See, hold up, Mark. It ain't time for you to cop a plea for your friends. That's a dead serious. Like, who the are you? See, I'm cool with content lands being different too. Some of y'all only get on camera with the intellectual perfection areas that you bright in. I don't pride myself in doing it that way. Like, I do things in real time. I allow people to see my shortcomings. I allow people to see where I made an error in judgment. I allow people to see, I'm a fan of redemption. I allow people to see growth. I'm not just trying to only pop up when shit is good. I think that there's a certain courage in that. I think that takes a certain level of tact and boldness. So again, for you people to look at Flip, y'all don't come on I don't know if everybody's so bright in their relationships.
No,
I don't know if everybody's having a blast with their parental situation. I don't know what your situation with your kids or your siblings is like. I don't know what you like in social settings. All I know is what I see from the content. You quote unquote intellectuals seem to be pulling a lot from places that, again, like it said, you admittedly know very little about. It just comes off a way.
Yeah,
it comes off a way.
It's like if you put,
especially when you pretending to do all of this super black kumbaya shit. I got a problem with that too. I got a problem with the people that masquerade as kumbaya, super black, all for the people, and will be the first one to tell you how we're different. I come on here every week and say we're less different than we are alike. We just got different ideologies. But I'm not going to keep listening to people who in 25 years, I've never said the name Angela Rye. I don't give a fuck about nothing y'all talking about over there. I'm saying that respectfully. I don't come on here and say a word about any of that shit. I expect reciprocity. You could have titled that clip totally different.
That's true.
Don't claim to be super pro-black and then take the #1 black urban podcast and put that type of stink on it because you think you got a friend over here. That don't give you a license.
I don't think it's that. I don't think if Mark was here or not. I think
if Mark was here, they would never have those conversations.
No,
they having those conversations because their friend is up here.
No, they having those conversations because Mark is deemed an academic and an intellectual, which you.
Well, he is not deemed.
No. I said what you are. So now it's why is he even there? Like Angela Yee said, Mark, just come home.
Angela Rye.
Pardon me, Angela Rye.
I didn't see that part either, man. I missed some. I didn't want to watch the full thing, but I guess I missed that one too.
Mark, just come home.
That's the other beat.
But then you go on to say how diverse Mark is. So I think that that's an insult because you don't put Mark in a box. Mark is home. Mark is a black man sitting in a room with black men that grew up in similar circumstances, albeit we wasn't all in the cold. You can't say
we
he's
all
not
had
home.
our own walks of life.
Yeah, dog. Like I just disagree with that shit.
Thank God there was a black-owned, independent media company there to pick up our good brother when he was misunderstood by other outlets.
Talk about it.
Why is that part not being said by pro-black native land people? I'm getting confused.
Yeah,
Mark was a free agent. Y'all had a chance to bring him home.
And didn't.
You didn't.
That's a good point.
So don't sit up on your platforms all pretentious as one of the Charlemites. That's how I know you. I know you as one of the Charlemites and get to saying what Mark should and shouldn't be doing. Please. If you didn't discuss this podcast before, if by your own admittance you know very little about it, shit, the woman Tiffany said at least 5 times that she don't give a fuck about these other opinions. All I'm asking is that you act like it.
Also, if you're for the furtherment of intellectualism in America, and particularly in the urban space, I hate that term, but whatever. Wouldn't you want an intellectual on the biggest platform to disperse some of that?
Well, that's why.
That's what I'm saying. Mark, mute up, man. Mute the fuck up. Honestly, that's what I'm saying. I love Mark.
We all
facts. We do. I do too.
/ I learned from Mark.
I also do as well.
/ I want and need Mark here. It's all of those things.
But know what? It's a flip side to that coin. Mark is way more decorated than you academically. Mark can learn something from everybody else up here. And that was one of the things. It was, I know.
And that's
this
academia.
is not your sentiment.
That's intellectualism, that's academia.
Yo, and
what I said earlier in my rant, that's what I was saying earlier right there. Thank you, Ish.
It was almost like, yo, what the is he up there for? He's just hanging around with these hooligans that he can't take nothing from. And that's not the case, my nigga. Again, you could have a doctor, a brain surgeon, right? Could sit in a room with a financier. The brain surgeon can have up credit, be behind in his payments. He's smart in that particular area. Whereas the financier can't do a surgery, but he over here sitting with a net worth of $50 zillion. You could be smart over here and smart over here, and the two might not intersect. That don't mean that the brain surgeon is smarter than the nigga that's a financier. Flip, like I said, lives well, my nigga, and makes more money than a bunch of that got a bunch of degrees. This nigga's kids are well-mannered, well-raised. He lives well. And I don't think Flip might have never had a corporate job in his life.
Well, that's on them because they think black is niche.
What you talking about? I don't like that, bro.
They moving around here like black is just
Flip is independent.
one thing.
Flip is independent. A multimillionaire independently. You can't say that about a bunch of black in academia.
And how about we encourage more conversations with each other just about how, and I'm not necessarily saying us and y'all, I'm just saying with each other about how we can be of assistance to each other. Why don't we not always try to drive a wedge in between some shit that already has enough wedges?
Exactly.
If you so intellectual, one, how about understand context and nuance? You could have made that point again without saying this pod. Two, I never heard Mark say I'm a super intellectual. I never heard him say that. I never heard Michael Dyson, you know my man. Eric Dyson. Eric Dyson. Michael Eric Dyson. You know the I'm talking about the nigga. Yeah, you know the so I never heard him say I'm an intellectual. I never heard that. I never heard Neil deGrasse come say I'm an intellectual. The intellectuals teach. They're not running around getting an erection or getting a wet clit from self-identifying. And it's a lot of that going on that I'm only seeing since Mark got here. You can go back to the griot. Y'all can go back to the spiritual healer or wherever the you get your news from. Again, y'all don't have that license because your friend is up here. And he could have been there. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm done. Go ahead, Flip. I'm done.
No,
I'm done.
For real.
And we not invited to Angela Rye's show. Are you crazy?
Can I say something, please? Go ahead. People, and I've been seeing this, people saying that you shouldn't argue with me because I'm dumb, right? In their opinion. But a lot of people move with that intellectual arrogance. And intellect doesn't make you superior. And that shit not supposed to be used as a weapon. Intellect is supposed to be used as a bridge. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. To connect, to encourage, you know what I'm saying? To connect, to encourage, and to motivate me to be an intellectual. Or to go over there and study and do that. That was my issue, and no disrespect to my brother Mark, it's not an issue, but that was my back and forth with Mark. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, bro, I look up to you. Bro, I respect you. Bro, you my man, and I didn't take in consideration that you're just one of us. I'm just looking for you for advice. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So when you crack the joke, I'm not looking from that from you. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking from Ish. I play around like that with you. I was like, you know, so that was my thing. I don't feel like intellect should be used as a weapon. And number two, I'm not saying you did that. You my brother. We talk. You know what I'm saying? And number two, man, I got it from the mud. You niggas can't relate. You know what I'm saying? Common sense ain't so common. You know what I mean? And I don't need a book. Or not saying I do need a book.
Need books. I
do need a book, but I didn't need a book in order to get where I'm at today. Yes. You know what I'm saying? We make fun of this man and we can say whatever he want, but he took a chance on somebody. He took a chance on someone like me. If you look up my history, he took a chance and said, you know what? I fuck with Flip and I appreciate Flip. I'm going to bring him up here on the #1 podcast. And that shit meant a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? So I look at that and I appreciate Joe and I appreciate everybody. And shout out to you niggas. But a lot of you niggas can't fuck with me. And I don't mean to say niggas, but people can't fuck with me. Get to where I'm at. I don't get to where I'm at, man. This shit is from the mud. And when you get it from the mud, you appreciate different. You look at people different. You don't put other people down because you want to celebrate them, especially the ones that got it out the mud.
Not a lot of times, especially when you still punching the clock for the white that you supposedly condemning. Ooh. This nigga's self-employed, bro.
I think.
And one thing that stupid people and Andrew and Bakari said this. I was so, again, I cannot stress. I cannot stress.
They held it down.
How appreciative I was for what those two gentlemen had to say on the matter.
Sure, I beg your pardon.
Again,
I didn't.
But one thing that quote unquote stupid people are really, 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 really good at, and they've said it, is knowing when somebody called them stupid.
They did.
I'm glad they said a lot. I'm appreciative of those brothers. Angela Rye, I accept your non-invitation. If I'm somewhere and you there, I'm leaving.
No, I'm a fan of Angela Rye too.
I think
I've sat up here mad times. I'm a fan of Angela Rye. I just think that in our community, there's unity in community.
I'm not a fan of her, but once we get to our all black club, we could identify where we at, who's our tribe, and who ain't.
I'm not.
I think they all love black people, and I think they all care about all of us up here. I do.
Sound like it, then.
Just hear me out. So I think first, in terms of the title of the episode, I agree. I wouldn't have titled it that because I think that doesn't set the table for the kind of conversation we want to have. It alienates people from the beginning. I agree with that. I think Angela's a dear friend.
And it just appears a little like
nigga,
my name
it's
is
clickbaity. What the fuck are you talking about? It's clickbaity,
we know what it is.
bro.
Like you are their friend, right? So they're invested in a you and Flip back and forth. And I guess y'all are on this podcast, but it's behind a paywall. It wasn't made. But like, why is my name even attached to whatever this is? One, and two, why would you want to cast that type of light? Because also they showed that other clip where you were saying rest in peace to your friends that were lost, and we handled it very poorly. I admit we handled that. I handled that very poorly. But again, don't tell me that you are pro-black and then want to highlight the very, very, very worst of the best black podcast that there is. I'm just not buying it. Words and actions need to align at some point.
I feel you. I mean, I think we're all guilty sometimes of not doing enough research on clips or on shows when we make opinions.
That's true.
I think that's all of it. Especially,
get it.
We're in a professional response business, so that happens sometimes. I think if those are the only two clips they saw, I could see how someone could draw an opinion of the show that's different than I see the show full time. But that's why we should read more, and that's why we should watch more.
And trust more. Trust your friends.
Yeah. Angela's a dear friend. I mean, a dear friend. And she cares about me. And so I think we're going to be passionate in defense of our friends. And that might become the top priority. So I do understand that. And Tiffany, all of my friends, but Angela's a close friend.
Fuck out of here.
Got a question for you.
Fuck out of here.
Let me get it. I'm going to ask a question after that.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it as well. I heard their comments a little more nuanced than that. What I heard Tiffany say was, when she was pushed on it, was, I'm not saying people shouldn't be everywhere talking. She just said, that's not my ministry. I don't want to be in those spaces. I think everybody recognizes that that we have to be in all the space, that we shouldn't just be in academia, we shouldn't just be on mainstream legacy media. I don't think they're saying I shouldn't be here. I think they're saying I shouldn't be here if it's not healthy or safe.
She literally said.
No, but let me finish the thought.
Mark cleaned it up.
I shouldn't be here if it's...
Yeah, Mark is caping for them. She literally said that. She literally said he shouldn't be there. She don't like you being on the platform. When she got the backlash from, or the other perspective from Andrew and Bakari, I'm guessing he said it too because I didn't listen to that portion. That's when she was backtracking on the words, but she don't believe that he should be there.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you lie on what she said. Tiffany said you should not be here.
Right.
Verbatim. Mm-hmm. That's not me freestyle.
No, I'm with you, but just
and that Flip shouldn't be heard.
And that's, hear what I'm saying? And then there was a pushback, and Bob saying by the end of the conversation, I think what they were trying to say that wasn't communicated well, I agree with you, was I shouldn't be here if it's not safe or healthy or productive. I think the problem is if you don't watch the show fully, from the clips you might think that, but if you watch the show, you realize that it's not. And that's what I'm saying. I think we have to watch more and study more. And again, I think part of that is just the being protective of your friends. I agree that some spaces aren't worth being in. Mm-hmm. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
As do I.
Yeah, I don't think this is one of them.
As do I.
But I do think that there are spaces, and I think that's the point they're making. I just disagree with the analysis that this is one of those spaces. That's all I wanted to say. And then finally, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's like Fresh and Fit. Yeah, Marc Lamont Hill better not dare step foot on Fresh and Fit. As well as many black women, don't take y'all ass on Fresh and Fit. Cause why? Why?
100% on the last point, and this is not about the Native Land Pod, but it's about all these places, is a lot of people who say to me, why are you up there? I give them two reasons, right? One is I actually think this is a healthy and good, well, three reasons. One, I enjoy it. Two, I think this is a healthy and good environment for me to have these conversations. I'm talking to people who I've never been in conversation with before. I'm talking about the audience. Mm-hmm. But third, like to your point, like I got fired by CNN in 2018. No,
ain't nobody call.
The niggas wasn't calling. You know what I mean? It's almost like that. It's almost like that Whoopi Goldberg thing I was talking about before. It's like all y'all mad that I'm with this person, but none of y'all want to date me. You know what I mean? And so it's like,
I was perturbed about that.
And that's not that's not a critique of Angela and them because they're not in the hiring business. But I'm saying like these companies, these corporations, even some of the fans are like, why are you here? Why are you this? Like, because I took some pretty passionate stands that y'all tell me to take, and then when I take them, it comes at a price. And
goddamn right,
and I'm willing to pay that price. And I'm always grateful to you for opening the door, knowing that it's not an easy choice to hire me. It's easy in some ways. In some ways, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And so I never take that for granted. So I think it's a lot of moving parts there. But I do think America's getting dumbed down. I do think we need to have that conversation.
I agree.
I just didn't want Flip to be even
the
poster
face
boy for
mascot poster boy
because it's not
that conversation because it's unfair.
And he's not that.
Because it's not fair, yeah.
And there's way stupider podcasters than Flip.
I
was about to say that, but I was like, I was come forget that. So.
I just wanted to ask you, Mark. I just wanted to ask you because you said she's a dear friend of yours.
Yeah.
Has she at any point reached out to you and had a conversation prior to going?
Yeah, she did. She did.
All right.
She did. And I didn't get a chance to holler back. She came to me not about the pod, but about like I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like, are you okay? What do you need?
Yo, learn how to share your friend. I don't want to hear this shit Mark talking about. Learn how to share your friend. You got a friend that's cool on this side and is cool on that side. Share your friends. You know how many mental health conversations we done had with Mark and with each other?
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me about some fight that Mark and Flip had. Like, there's a brotherhood going on up here, whether you see it or not.
But it is a prejudgment based on your perception in the media. They look at you one way, like you're obnoxious, you're provocative, and all of these other things. So you couldn't dare have a brain.
I'm not mad at
you. Couldn't dare be outside of a surface level thinker. That shit is insulting.
I'm not mad at a misjudgment. I'm mad at the attempt to correlate it to anti-intellectualism.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't have a brain in your head.
Part of the problem is viral culture, though, because if people look at the 3 biggest clips of me ever, maybe the 4 biggest clips of me. One is me laughing at the dude about the Cheesecake Factory with Angela, actually.
That's funny.
You know, one is me and you about the flat Earth. One is me and you now.
You're welcome.
You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? So, like, I think we've had some great moments up here.
The mace.
And me getting, well, fuck you, but yeah. But my point is, like, there are moments up here that I think are great, talking about mental health, talking about depression, that I wish 5 million people would see, that I wish the media outlets would talk about. But the shit that goes viral is always the worst or excessive parts of what we do.
But they leaned into that, too. They leaned into it, number one, with the name of the clip. You playing the game. They playing the game as well. You leaned into it with the clip. Not just that. You also took the number one biggest platform and you structured your argument around it to gain some more clips. Yes. You did that too. Y'all playing the game too. Don't act like you above the game in the fray. You doing the same shit.
Yeah, I think it's also weird to. All
right, man. We're gonna stop it right there. I was really just watching this for the most part. I said a lot at the beginning, but that was a dope segment. Sometimes y'all be wanting me to get more commentary, less commentary, but right there, I was just a viewer right there, just watching this for the first time, trying to get an understanding of what's going on. But just much more of them reiterating my sentiments on the situation. I don't watch every single clip of Joe Budden podcast. I don't watch it. I see the viral clips. If there are certain topics that, you know, I want to hear from a panel of different perspectives, then I think this is the best platform right now that has a bunch of different perspectives on different topics. You have one voice that's the loudest, that's Joe, but a lot of times, he takes the back seat to his co-host and let them get their shit off. And, you know, I would say a lot of times previously in past years on this podcast, many people weren't worth listening to. That's on this platform in certain topics. But Marc Lamont Hill makes even those conversations much more entertaining than usual because he gives a different opinion. And you are able to see opinions clash and learn from both sides, especially when you hear ideologies get tested in real time. So I think that's dope what they have created. This is a long ass video. I haven't done a long video like this in a long time, but it is the weekend. I think this is an important topic, so I don't mind lending this much time to this topic right here because I think it's dope as hell. But yeah, man. Y'all let me know what you got to say in the comment section below. I'm going to get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.